Welcome back, everybody, to Blackstone Fortress, second episode of 2025. We're still here. We're alive. I know that the schedule's been all kinds of whack, but we're back on time. Finally, it is once again me, Chris, aka Snowy Night Owl, here hosting. I have my co-host here for a change, Nate, aka Pilch. Nice of you to join us.
Howdy.
Coda, aka Limerick, is here, and Mark, aka
Hello.
Ice King 132, is here.
Ooh, good new year, new me. Let's go,
You got a username now. That's the only time I'm ever going to do that because I've
motherfucker.
never once called you Ice King in the entirety of the time I've known you.
That's
So-
Mark, I
twice
gotta
now.
ask, where'd the 132 come from?
Oh, I was this. You know how you make something up as your little adolescent boy and it sticks with you forever.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't want people to be able to guess my username easily, so instead of doing 123, I did 132.
Oh, I just
Okay.
assumed that was because you came up in Florida's education system.
That also might have contributed to it.
Oh man, it has been a month of Warhammer, huh? We've had some stuff go down. We finally
Some
have
shenanigans.
we have hands on the new Eldari units, and I think we've got hands on the Eldari Codex, or does that actually start shipping this weekend?
That starts shipping this weekend.
Starts shipping this weekend. Okay. Well, so
But
I
you
mean,
do have hands on the Militarum Codex.
oh, that's right.
Oh, right.
Okay. Well, I
Yes.
mean, you are ex-militarum, so you can probably still run us through that. And then there was another piece of news that had just come. Oh, the big Emperor's Children thing. We've got all of the release details from all of them and some cool collectors stuff, and that has a whole different conversation that's going to be attached to it. So it's going to be a good night of podcasting around here, I think. So let's open up with what I think is probably the smallest shall we say controversy of the past month. And this actually comes from a picture that I was sent by Coda, who got it from his local gaming group from the Eldar players, who were very upset with the new Swooping Hawks. So, Mr. Tournament Man, do you
They're
want to explain why
massive.
they're very angry about the new Swooping Hawks?
So this happens a lot whenever new models are brought out. And it's also something to take into account if you want to kit mash your own stuff. And for those that are still new to the hobby, kit mashing means you're taking different parts from different kits and making your own version of a model.
Flash them together.
Now, why did I bring this all up? Because there's a reason that, well, I guess maybe not a reason, but there are rules to 40K that involve line of sight. And that can be different based on the size of the model. Well, what happened was a lot of the Eldari models that are coming out are rescaled to keep in line with, I think, Primaris Marines and a whole bunch of other things. What that means is that the Swooping Hawks are like twice the size of what they used to be.
Shoo.
And
Yeah, they're massive.
they are much bigger. And in the truly competitive scene, this matters because now you could be argued as modeling for advantage if you use the old models.
Right.
And it's not just a matter of putting them on a bigger base or adding, a tactical rock. Like these things are just bigger all around. And
Aren't the
so
Swooping
now,
Hawks like 3 times bigger?
yeah, like they're just massive. And so now it's one of those things where a lot of the people who are playing Eldari are like, okay, well, I got to fix this, but it's not a simple matter of,
Yeah.
upgrading. You're essentially having to buy the new models, and it's somewhat irksome for people. But at the same time, I would like people to see this as what it truly is. It's not a line refresh. And yes, Swooping Hawks existed. Yes, they are inherently similar in look to the ones that did exist, but these are new models. This is no different than someone wanting to field a Primaris army when they had Firstborn. This is no different than the old Necron getting the new Necron warriors. This happens to every army. This is going to happen to your army at least once in your lifetime if you stick in this hobby at any point in time. It sucks. Just consider yourself buying a new arm. Like you're not you're not just buying a codex with a line refresh, and people need to understand that.
Things could be illegal tomorrow. It just happened. Oh, I mean, yeah, I agree. You know, because what, like, if you use the old model, just like how would you even like what fix that? Like, clip off the wings and like glue some extra length on them?
So, perfect example is when I played Militarum last year in my team tournament. My Lord Solar Leontis,
Yes.
who I had kit bashed because I wanted him to look a bit more like the Azerkin.
Hate that guy.
Uh,
And sudden pause. That's probably my fault.
sorry,
I sent
that
it at
is
the
your
end.
fault.
Yeah.
Anyways, the part that we're having that I had a problem with was when I redid the model, I left him off his victory perch, which made him a good inch and a half shorter. And
Mm,
it just meant that he could hide in ways that the model isn't meant to be.
yeah, it
Yeah.
gets to
You know,
illegal territory.
Total shenanigans.
all I
Yeah.
had to do was add a tactical rock for him to stand on. With the swooping hawks, that's going to be a bit more difficult. But like I said, at this point, unless you are extremely cash strapped, in which case, I hate to say it, but maybe this hobby isn't for you.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Sure, sure.
I think the better plan is to use your new or your old models as paint scheme,
Yeah.
and then use your new like go and buy new models.
Yeah. No, it's a whole thing. The biggest issue that I think is sort of a valid complaint about the whole shenanigan with redesigning models to be like significantly gameplay adjusting is it really feels kind of pay to play. Like not even pay to win, it's just pay to play. Which
Mhm.
the game is, but it shouldn't be on a range refresh, in my opinion.
So I got a question. Do we think that this is just a straight nerf to especially the swooping hawks models because which I didn't know is the line of sight to be able to shot isn't base. It's the actual model,
It's tough.
On
which I wasn't aware of.
most of the tournament tables, it is not. Because the only situation where that would matter is if you had a barricade that was like exactly the right height. And GW/WTC largely doesn't really use those. And even then, they're pretty easy to deal with line of sight. Like a ruin is still line of sight blocking, period. Right? If you're
Right.
behind the ruin, you're
So
behind the
you're
ruin.
so basically your thought here is like, well, your bases are bigger. It's not like it's going to change halfway through a game.
Yeah.
So
And
you can position them differently.
yeah, and the thing that if you can be shot, you can shoot. So it's not really a nerf.
Okay. Yeah.
The other thing I would say is um, Warhammer over the last forever has had a slow scale creep, and Eldari, who are the oldest range in the game, um, they needed to be scaled up.
Very
Okay.
small. What year did those last models even come out?
Old. Very, very old.
Well, let's put it this way: the Striking Scorpion team came out for Kill Team.
Yeah.
I believe you couldn't get even resin Striking Scorpions. I think the original Striking Scorpions were still uh, metal.
Oh, I was about to say that. Don't say metal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, what was the line? Our local Eldar guy was saying that his I don't remember if it was his swooping hawks or his warp spiders, but the models are older than he is.
Jeez. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went to a tournament where someone brought like a warhound, like not like a hound titan, something like that.
Yep, more Hound Titan.
He loved saying like like oh this thing's probably older than you are. Like what? I was like what is this? Like what did you bring? It was some ally for his Custodes army during the more recent changes. He was trying it out.
Yeah, no, the uh, Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that the range needed an update.
Yeah. No, it definitely did need it. It just feels like kind of an iffy way to do it.
Were there any new models that came out in the new codex, or do we not know yet?
I don't other than are the oh, what are they called? The really fancy versions. Are they new? The leaders?
Uh, the new models? No, I don't. So, I mean, whatever. Nothing brand new. Like we didn't get what are the scout bikes?
Oh,
Oh,
the
wait. No, they're not Corsairs, right? It's a different army.
The Shade Runners or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
They got a or those are brand new, but no, nothing like that.
That's too bad.
I
Oh,
believe everything had models at some point. I could be wrong, and I'm not an Eldari player. So it might have been that they had rules but no model on their own.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so I mean, I guess the general consensus then would just be that new models cool, but broke old models in a really really unfortunate way.
Yeah, sending
Which
them plastic is against the law.
I mean, I don't want to like dismiss it as well. It's G-Dub doing G-Dub things, and like,
Well, I mean, like the thing that it really hurts is the new player who, the got into it last year and
bought the old models.
bought the old models.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, the fact is, if you are an Eldari player that really cares about this, you've probably had those models since you started the hobby.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, or they were passed down to you from your father, which is just a wild sentence to say.
Yeah, like it's insane. I mean, it's sad in so much as there are people who spent a lot of time painting those models and all that, and I hate to see any of that work out the window. But
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. Speaking of work gone out the window, I can't remember what I wanted to talk about next, so we're gonna move on. Um, and I wanna dive into the Emperor's Children in part because I have been promised a solution to one of the things that I hate most about the current state of the tabletop game. That I'm going to like, and GDub is definitely never going to do because I'm going to like it. Um, but also I want to talk about the Emperor's Children release, and in particular the special edition stuff that they're getting, their special edition codex and the part 1 of 4 coin and all that stuff. So I don't know if you guys have all seen this. That comment is largely aimed at Pilch because I'm pretty sure the two of you read Warhammer Community more often than I do, Coda and Mark.
Yeah, potentially.
that's
Sorry,
my
what?
homepage.
I've got my finger on the pulse of society.
Yeah.
I hear it.
All right, let's talk about the Emperor's Children limited edition codex release, because this thing is just so extra, and it's a little bit wide, and there's some references in here that like it's 1 of 4. And what's the line from the article? The most fervent followers of the Dark Gods can show their devotion with 4 extra special limited editions, one of each new codex, which will be released alongside the standard and collector's edition. So I have to assume that that means Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Death Guard, and
Yes, Thousand Suns.
Thousand Sons. That's the one I was forgetting.
1,000 suns.
So like a 4-part collector's edition set with a collectible coin in a special box with, I mean, in all fairness, a really legit collector's edition codex. That thing is sick.
So I will say right off the bat, it is everything that you want like a limited edition to be.
Yeah.
Comes with the coin, comes with 6 metal objective markers, comes with gold leafed data cards, comes with its own artwork. Like it is a nice set.
It looks beautiful. It opens in the middle.
And here's the last good thing I'll say about it.
Woo-hoo.
Because this shit here is why I want to burn everything I have of Game W or Game Workshop. Because right now, I'm looking at this going, okay, if I want to complete it, I have to be in for 3 other codexes that I don't play.
Yep.
Which, I mean, okay, fair. That's Games Workshop's stuff. I have so many codexes of armies I don't play. It's not a big deal. And I bought the Deathwing Assault box when it came out. I don't play Dark Angels or Deathwing. I don't even have those models anymore. Still have the codex.
Beautiful.
So all that, like, I'm not against the extraness of it. I'm against the limitedness of it.
How many bad boys are they going to make of these?
So it's numbered, which means you're probably looking under 1,000.
Damn.
Or like they're numbered, so I'm pulling 1,000 out of my ass, but like legitimately, you're looking at a severely low number.
Yeah. Not good. And I feel like Games Workshop, they can't break this bad habit, you know? It's like people want to buy their products.
Well, and this is where I have a problem is people want to buy their products and they have done nothing to protect people from scalpers. So not only if I want to collect this set, do I have to buy 3 useless things? Let's say I get all 3 and then I want to go buy the World Eaters one and I get queued out because scalpers get in.
Yeah. It's like, well, the longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes to complete this set. And it's, what, an hour and then shit, it's all gone.
Yeah. Like I have no and once you're in, like if you want the set, you have to you're in from the word go. Like you're not sitting back going, well, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to move and hit scalping.
Yep.
That being said, I'm buying the World Eaters one.
So okay, then there's a possibility here, and I don't know that I'm so much defending G-Dub as I am actively playing devil's advocate because I like the conversation. There's an argument to be made that there are enough people out there that feel the same way you do. Like, I'm only collecting one of these codexes. I don't care about the others. And some of them will be like, well, I don't give a rat's ass about this 4-part coin. I will sell my quarter. And so if the coin is the only thing that you need all 4 codexes for, then conceivably that's a thing that you can just acquire separately.
Yeah, like how much would the coin go on the secondary market?
Well, it depends how many there are.
This is the thing. We don't know how many they are. We just know that everything's numbered. So who knows? Maybe the number is artificial and there's 40,000 of them. But I doubt that to be the case. I just like this is the first time that GW has brought something to the front where I've given a crap about it and it been limited.
Yeah.
And now I totally understand why people hate the limited system.
Yeah.
Well,
prior to this, I didn't care.
It's one of those where I still have a hard time, and I get that there are like supply chain logistics and manufacturing supply and demand shenanigans and all those, fancy macroeconomic terms that I don't know because I'm not an economist. But not doing made to order for stuff like this just really feels like we hate money. Like, yeah, do a run of the numbered ones, sure, but then do those using like a ticket queue system or something, like almost a lottery to get a numbered one, but then make more of the set not numbered as made to order. Like it's not that hard to cut the legs out from under these scalpers and make more money.
Yep.
The perfect thing, and this would be the win. The numbered set have the coin. The made to order just has all the other things.
Yeah. I mean, even if the metal bits are are the big thing that's affecting your ability to do made to order. Do the rest of it made to order. So then the people that don't care.
And like I'm moving for if the initial, so let's say we don't know the price or anything, but let's just spitball here. Regular codex is 70, special editions were 100. This is probably sitting 152,
Something like
somewhere in there. So let's just say that, let's say the high end of this, $200 pre-order.
Sure.
We are going to do our pre-order. If you order after the pre-order week, or after the first initial run is done, it's 250.
Yeah.
But you can always get it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care the cost because it's an expensive hobby, and if I care about it, I'm going to spend the money on it.
Yeah.
What I care about is that I'm going to sit in the queue. I'm going to have the chance of losing out on it, and then I have the option of spending an obscene amount of money not going to Games Workshop.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, it's one thing if Games Workshop is doing this in a way that they make, money hand over fist off of these releases. I get that. That's good capitalism. It's a whole other thing if they are not only actively leaving money on the table, but handing all of that extra money to the scalpers that are going to profit independently off of their customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
we have like the same problem in the Magic the Gathering community. If you follow any of that, they come out with straight to print releases called secret layers where they release what's we're gonna release, this is how much it's gonna be. Log in at this time, at this get in queue and see if you get it. First thing. Half the time the cards in there aren't really worth what you're buying them for, but they immediately go on the secondhand market for, double the price because it's a limited time print run. And they go in the queue, you get it printed, and they don't make it ever again. And it's like I don't want to see. I know Games Workshop has been doing this for a while, but it's just the same song and story over and over again. It's just like you could do it better. You could just make it better.
yeah,
Yep.
it's yeah.
It's like why must hobbies be so complicated? For no
I'm
reason?
really, really tired of the company that makes one of my favorite things not understanding the internet. Like, and that's legitimately what it feels like, is that they're so stuck in the 80s that they just don't have this concept of like, oh, there are robots on the internet that will steal all of your product and resell it for more money.
Yeah. What would you think as a spitballing concept? Assuming that the people that want this product are your very loyal, very avid, players that have spent thousands on armies before and they're just very passionate. What would you think about to get in like the queue online to get the first round of these? You'd have to have a Warhammer Plus subscription. Like
So,
to kind of combat against like the bots, the scalpers, because you can't. Who's going to spend that much money to give so many bot accounts subscription based access?
Well, but the thing is
can
they
I
don't
tell
need
you,
a lot of bot accounts.
can I tell you how to fix this? And this is going to sound stupid, but there's a band called Sleep Token. I don't know if anybody knows them here.
I know of them.
I don't know shit about shit.
Last year, my wife wanted to go see them, so she joined their fan club online because they give out pre-sale passwords for tickets, right?
Yeah.
All right, all right.
So what it is if you sign up to this service, and it's free. It's just a yes. I'd like to receive an email with future whatever, right? Like it's the thing we never click yes to.
Yeah.
Click yes to it. 3 hours before the service goes live, they send you an email saying, "Hey, just to let you know, your promo code is coming out in 2 hours and 50 minutes. You'll have 10 minutes to activate that promo code."
Yeah.
2 hours and 50 minutes come out. You get your promo code. You go to their website or Ticketmaster or whatever, and you put the promo code in, it lets you buy that ticket or however many tickets you want. Now, some lots of bands do this. Some bands limit the number of tickets you can get, and that's what GW I think should do here too. There's no reason you need 2 limited editions of anything. You're only going to flip one. But the idea here is, so you sign up for a My Warhammer account, right? It's free. You don't even need Warhammer Plus. They send out a code that says, "Here is your pre-order code." They send it out to everybody that has an account, and you use that to get into your pre-order. And everybody's like, "Oh, but the scalpers have pre-order accounts too." Yeah, I'm not worried about a human.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to go against the bots.
And the bots aren't smart enough yet, or at least they are smart enough, but luckily it's not readily accessible yet to play the shell game.
Yeah.
Take the code from the email into the account. Like, they're just not good at that.
The Turing test.
And so I think that's what they should do is you sign up for, so like on their Sunday preview, they have a link at the bottom. You click yes, it takes you to your My Warhammer account. You want to be part of the pre-order for next Saturday or whatever it is. And then 10 minutes before that pre-order goes live, you get your code. In order to check out with that item, you need to put the code in.
Yeah.
I do like that.
It's simple. It's cheap. I do understand the
It rhymes.
Warhammer Plus idea, and I think eventually that's probably how that'll go because scalpers get smart.
Yeah.
But the problem is,
the wheels.
I already have a hard time with Warhammer Plus because I'm Canadian and it's next to useless for me.
I always forget that. Why does nothing ever work?
No, I still have it. Like, I still pay it because I have so many lists on it because, while their army builder is not great, it is very intuitive.
And it's direct. It's nice having the button you can press when you're in a match that's like, oh, here's your army and here's every stratagem you might possibly need and when you can use it.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's just handy. But at the same time, it is next to useless for me as a Canadian. I can't watch any of the shows.
You can actually get around that.
From time to time, I do. It's a pain, and
It is.
I don't want to inflate. So, like, I am petty, and I think people are running like Canada's not unique in its pettiness, but we're really good at it. If I want to, yeah, I'll work around that. But you know what I'm doing then? I'm inflating your numbers in Canada. That shows you that people are willing to work around the problem instead of you fix the fucking problem yourself.
That is fair.
And I'd rather that be the case. Unless, like, okay, people, well, you pay for it, so they don't care. You're right. They probably don't. But at the same time, it's what, $10 a month? It's literally the cheapest thing that you'll ever spend at Games Workshop.
Yeah.
For even less, I think.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And like I said, I think the general summation of my issues and the thing that I think that particularly I think senior leadership at Games Workshop needs to get on board with, and it's so dumb that in the year of our Lord 2025, this is a sentence I'm about to say, but they need to get caught up with the internet. And I mean, I've talked about this before, which I have since learned ever since being like, well, they need to just copy D&D Beyond, that D&D Beyond went over and dropped the ball real hard, which is the nicest way that I can say that. However, I maintain that improving their digital ecosystem is what's going to get people to buy the actual models. There's so much baggage in the hobby right now.
Yeah.
Totally. But I think I hit the nail on the head on when we talked about that as to why D&D Beyond went back on that. You really want that character? You're going to pay $40 for it regardless.
Okay, I'm the wrong person to make that argument too, because I won't. I will go find a free
No.
resource somewhere, probably from Russia. Like,
And I applaud you on that. And like I said, I won't work around the program just because I don't want that number to inflate. But at the same time, the majority of people do.
yeah.
I ran into this issue earlier where I took someone through a drive-through, and I ended up paying for them, and even though they were willing to pay, and they're like, "Well, why do you do that?" Like, I was willing to pay, and I went, because the amount of time it would take me to tell the person behind the speaker that this is two separate orders, and then you pay, and then I pay, and then we get our order. No, I'll just pay it. We'll move on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just simpler.
Yeah, the people have a price for their time, and I think in certain regards, some people would rather. It's a hobby. It's going to take money. They already know that. They're willing to spend a bit more of it because it's going to take money. Like, I mean, none of us. Let me rephrase that. From what I understand, most of us are using Citadel paints, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're not the cheapest. They're not the best, but they're in the store. Where are you going to?
Yeah, honestly, I gotta pick up some more that you reminded me. You know,
Well, and that's the thing, and it's not even like for me right now. There is a paint line that I would love to use instead of Citadel, except I've already started painting my world leaders with this Citadel colors.
Oh yeah, I ordered like doubles of all my. I have to get more Rune Lord brass soon. I'm almost out, but I have a giant ass thing of lead belcher. That I hope I'll never have to get more of.
So it is what it is, and but I think you're right in the fact that they're missing out on some things.
Leaving some money on the table, leaving some some goodwill on the table that could definitely be spread around.
However, now that we're talking about Emperor's Children, I want to bring up something I mentioned to Snowy earlier.
Yes. Give me my promised fix for the one thing I hate most.
Okay, so Chris hates Primarchs.
Huh?
I don't know if you know this about him, but he hates Primarchs.
No.
Loyal, chaos, doesn't matter. If you're the son of Big E, he hates you.
Yep.
And it's because he's a racist. No,
You can't
it's because
improve
on the
perfection,
table,
Zoe. You can't improve on the higher forms of evolution, of science.
it's because on the table they are very painful to play against, and even when they punch down, in most cases they're punching down points buys, meaning that they're worth more than the thing they're killing.
Yeah.
It's such an annoyance to get them off the table that people end up having to invest more into them than they're worth.
Yep.
That's true.
For the longest time, we were never afraid of Mortarion killing their army. You're just afraid of him never dying.
Never die.
And that sort of stayed true for most of them, except they've also gotten deadlier as time goes on.
Yep.
So, my solution takes them out of competitive play, and I will say that right now. But I have a solution to that as well. It takes them out of competitive play. It takes them out of everything except playing against friends and people you like, essentially. And that is Supreme Commander has an additional rule line. Right now, if your character or whatever has a Supreme Commander rule line, it states it has to be the warlord of your army, right?
Right, yeah.
You have the Supreme Commander line, and it has that line, and then underneath it says, if this model has the Primarch or Demon Primarch key tag, it can only be fielded if the opponent has a model with the Primarch or Demon Primarch keyword.
Interesting. Like, why would Gilliman show up for this random skirmish for no reason?
Well, Primarchs would only be in games that are against other Primarchs.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, Mortarion's gonna be there? Let me grab my sword. I'll get my socks on.
Exactly. And the counter to competitive play for this is something I have thought that competitive play has needed for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
A 500-point ringer.
500 point what?
Ringer.
Ringer? What does that mean?
Yeah. So a ringer is someone you bring onto your team to fill a hole, right?
Yeah.
So in the competitive scene, the way I see a ringer would be you have your 2,000 point list and a 500 point approved ringer list, meaning that you can sub out any of those 2,000 points for any of those 500 points. And the reason that that
Oh.
works is because that allows armies that have to build very differently for different opponents
Yeah.
to
Pivot on the
uh,
fly.
pivot on the fly. Now you still have to have, I'll say, a caveat. In most ways that this would work, so most grand tournaments have 4 to 5 rounds on day one and 2 to 3 rounds on day two, right?
Yeah.
I would say that the games prior to lunch have to be locked in before game one. The games after lunch are locked in at lunchtime.
Well, so basically you have to lock in your final list as soon as you know your opponent.
Essentially. And the idea being, going back to the tournament I played in June last year, I showed up with a mob killing monstrosity of a guard list because the competitive scene was very mob heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green Tide had just rolled out. Like there was just horde armies everywhere. So I brought lists that just dealt with horde armies. We walked into a team setting, like a team tournament setting, where there was 2 Green Tide lists out of 60 people, and
Oh.
everybody else brought mech.
Okay.
And so, like, luckily with Astra Militarum, anti-mob is still tanks, so like I wasn't getting blown up, but I wasn't killing things with the effectiveness I should have been because I went in going, okay, well the meta says this, so I'm going to bring a counter to that, and for whatever situation and whatever the reasoning was, the local meta that I walked into was like, nope, we're bringing knights.
Huh.
And it would have been nice to be like, okay, I'm going to switch out 500 points in my list to go into night killing.
Yeah.
And this is the thing is that, like, most Primarchs are in the 300 to 450 range, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
So, like, if you want that to be your sidebar, that's your sidebar. But it also allows you then to field something against someone Mortarian. Or maybe you really don't want to play with Angron, but you bring him just in case. And so when that Mortarian player comes along and goes, hey, I want to field Mortarian, do you want to field Angron? No, thank you, I'm good.
Interesting. I do like that concept a lot. Gives you more control, more choice. And you still
Well,
get
I
to bring
just
your awesome model centerpiece.
Well, and for me, the sidebar, whether they change the Supreme Commander rule or whatever, the sidebar being in competitive play or side deck, whatever you want to call it, I think it's hugely important because it allows flexibility in makes those feel bad moments where your army is just not
Yeah.
what's going to win better.
You know, we got sideboards in Magic. You know, you go to a pre-release, you have 3 rounds. You can swap out cards between matches. You know, and have your sideboard. You know, I think it's
Because
very healthy for the format.
nobody wants to field a infantry killer and then walk into a knight's list.
I want you to fill an infantry list into my knights list.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but that's what I mean. It's like that, the stat check of a knight's list is sort of what made me think of this to begin with. Because wouldn't it be nice to be able to be like, actually, I can match that stat list, and now let's see who's the better general.
Yeah. No, I really like the idea of a sideboard. The big issue that you're going to have with that, just from like a practical standpoint, I think, is the armies that can't. Like a 500 point sidebar is potentially for me one model.
Right, but wouldn't that allow your army, if that became an accepted part of play, wouldn't that allow your each individual army to specialize more, like the models themselves? Wouldn't that allow someone to be like, okay, the pirate shooty version is really, really shooty, but now that and it can't handle a melee at all, but we don't need it to because now people can bring that other gap filler.
Yeah. No, I do agree that it would open up some design avenues for them if they could like plan around the fact that you have an extra 500 points to play with. And I think it would make certain like matchups, I guess, feel a lot less punishing. I mean, even what you're talking about, right? Like, oh, I've got these 500 points that I can pivot in because whoops, you have knights and I forgot to bring a las cannon.
Well, yeah, or you have knights because that's your favorite army, and you're going to play knights till the day you die. And the meta says knights suck, and yes, maybe knights suck, but they're going to tear my guardsmen to shreds.
Yep.
They're gonna stomp my face in and then call me bitch.
The hard part would be, I think, ironically, knights I don't think are the poster boy for hard part in this. I think it's custodies.
Yeah, custodies are an issue. And
Where it's just, and even Votan, where it's just, what are you bringing? More of the same?
More of the same.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. So
And like I'm like I was looking at my list. I was like, so I'd have a sidebar of what 10, 20, 60 berserkers.
something like that.
60
Because what else am I gonna bring?
Yeah, right. Like
I'll pull out my 60 berserkers for my 18 8-bound.
you could just limit it. We could regress back to like 9th edition detachments and just call it a day. It's like, hey,
But
can I bring a super heavy? I'll
I
bring a
don't
super
want to
heavy.
have to memorize 47 stratagems again.
No, just the detachment.
no, you know what they you know what they get to.
Hmm.
We'll come back to 8, where your detachment determines how much CP you have.
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where
What?
Instead of accumulating it like per round, it's just this is what your pool is and good luck.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get there because that was a horrible situation, and especially with that is why allies became a thing.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
then you could soup in CP generators.
Or you stoop into like custodies and Grey Knights and some Space Marine list would soup in 32 guard models because it got them 7 extra CP
Oh my
Yep.
or something
God.
like that.
Ridiculous.
Knights
And like,
lists would do the same thing.
oh, speaking of Knights, this is way off topic, and I apologize.
mm-hmm,
But I know Snowy's gonna like it. I think
mm-hmm.
the Chaos Knights. There was a picture posted with Chaos Knights or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and out in front you see a heavily armored humanoid with a shield and weapon of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "Knights are getting dirty," and it's
Night guard. Night guard.
Wait a second. Wait. You mean like infantry or like
Okay,
another melee?
let me explain why this is so exciting. So
Okay.
the nightly houses are
Yeah.
not part of the Imperium,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. They are sovereign planets that are then friendly with the Imperium in some cases and friendly with very much not the Imperium in some
Yeah.
cases.
Like
And
the German Empire.
sometimes those two halves or those two sides own half of the planet each, and it's total fucking shenanigans. But one of the big things to remember is that knight chassis in particular are incredibly rare. And most of the knight families that own knight chassis, the knight chassis are as old as the planet almost. Well, I shouldn't say the planet because
Yeah.
planet, but
Columbia.
they're older than the knightly house is. Like they're from the original settling of the planet during the golden age. And new knights are not manufactured ever. There are no new knights, and so the steeds, as they're commonly referred to in imperial circles, are incredibly rare and incredibly precious and super valuable and very carefully taken care of and not worth rolling out for every little conflict. And so then if you need to, I don't know, put down a peasant rebellion or something like that, do you want to roll out the multi-thousand-year-old ancient war relic that costs more than the GDP of some entire planets to fix? Or do you just train up some bannermen and give them really fancy armor and big shields and tell them, hey, go beat the shit out of those poor people? Thank you.
Woo! Oh
Those
hell yeah!
are Night Guardians. They are foot soldiers that are dedicated specifically to the Nightly Houses. And it is a thing that Knights players of every flavor have been begging for since we became a faction.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I want to. I'm gonna eat those models so quick. Oh my god.
I want them.
Put it in perspective. Night chassis are rarer than Titan chassis.
Yeah.
Because the AdMech are still making Titans.
Yeah. But the Knights were actually manufactured by the original colony ships to be used as essentially like mechanical beasts of burden.
Yeah.
And like there's a scene in a book that I read recently where the Knight chassis actually, because they have a thing called the throne in the cockpit, and the throne contains essentially an imprint of the soul of every pilot the Knight has ever had. And
What?
one of the imprints in the throne actually remembers when the day the Knight was manufactured and it walked into the field for the first time.
Oh,
Time to go till in the fields with my weapon of mass destruction.
But they didn't have guns on them originally. The guns were put on later due to interfactional conflicts that arose between the settlers.
Well, and also if the planet himself was hostile.
Yeah,
That's the opposite of a swords to plowshare situation.
it's literally the opposite of. But I mean, like you look at a planet like let's say Caliban, right? Because Caliban's a planet that everybody in this call at
Well,
least is familiar with, and if you're not
me
familiar
neither.
with it, you should go read about Caliban because Caliban is fucking horrifying.
Please use the titles.
But it's literally like it was a planet that is basically infused by the warp, which led to it being entirely populated by giant warp infested monsters. And the only way the Dark Angels could make a home there is by hunting them, which is why they're all like, codes of chivalry, brr, brr, brr. I am the hunter. I am the watcher in the dark. Um,
I am the watcher in the dark.
but that's their whole thing. And the Nightly Houses, there's a lot of lore parallels between the Nightly Houses and the Dark Angels for a good reason. They took what were these violent deep space planets because they were some of the earliest colonizers to go out into space, and they
Yeah.
tamed them largely via the power of the Night chassis.
And what ends up happening is they eventually pair themselves with the Legion Titanicus.
Yeah.
Or different Legion Titanicus is. And that's how they get their repairs and their knowledge is they'll get tech priests from those places. So they're not teaming up with the AdMech. They're teaming up with partners of the AdMech.
And the tech priests that work for the Night Houses are actually given special title. They're typically called sacristan tech priests. And the schematics and stuff that they get and the like the base code that they have access to for repairing these knights is literally worth more than the entire planet that the knight is on.
No, I get that. That makes sense.
If anybody listening really wants to go further into this style of 40K, there is 2 books I can think of that touch it on it well. The first one is Hell's Reach, and it touches on just how important these things are to a battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is the Siege of Terra book called Mortis.
Oh God, Mortis was so good.
The other one
And
I've actually heard of.
so the Siege of Terra series is Horus coming to Terra to take on Biggie, and the cataclysmic battle that happens. I think it's 10 books.
Well,
Something
spoilers,
like
bro.
that. Another book that I strongly recommend is Kingslayer.
Okay.
Kingslayer does a really good job explaining how nightly houses work, because literally the first third of the book is a free blade explaining nightly houses to a group of assassins that are trying to infiltrate a nightly house.
The
King die in the book.
so the reason I mentioned the length of the Siege of Terror series, sorry, is that Mortis you could take out of that series and read and not require all the other ones.
It's pretty standalone, and it is so damn good.
It explains, and it doesn't explain the nightly houses, but it explains how knights are used in combat, how titans are used in combat, how there's weapons that the Admech have that they refuse to use, except in utter, like,
Except in the Pariah Nexus.
well, but essentially, like the idea was to like these void missiles, which rip holes in the warp. In the book, they explain it as they don't use them, and when they are used, it is an escalation of war. It is literally, okay, I'm going to delete you, understanding that if I don't, you are now going to try and delete me.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And you get the rare Psi Titans and Mortis as well. So the Emperor not steals in his pact with Mars, because in the Golden Crusade or the Great Crusade, the Emperor denounces all religion. He says gods don't exist, demons don't exist, devils don't exist, heaven doesn't exist, hell doesn't exist. All that stuff is nothing. The imperial truth is what is important, and the imperial truth is science. Well,
Yep.
the problem is he gets to Mars and he goes, I need your Martian know-how. And the Admiral go, okay, but the Omnissiah says, like, the Omnissiah is God. And the Emperor goes, but there is no gods. And the Admiral go, well, the Omnissiah told us otherwise. And Biggie goes, okay, so how are we going to get around this? And Admiral goes, well, you could be the Omnissiah. And Biggie's like, all right, fine, whatever. And so he goes, you keep your funky religion, just give me the ships I need to get into space. Because at this point in time, Earth didn't have any shipyards, it was just Mars.
Yeah.
So Admic gets to keep its funky religion. In return, Biggie gets all the ships he needs. Plus, he takes some Emperor class Titans, which are the biggest Titans.
Yeah.
Recently, we've discovered they are the second biggest Titans.
Okay, yes, because there's the War Master Titans, right?
Nope. We have met the Castigator Titan, who is the father of all Titans and is a man of iron.
And is a man of
Love that.
whatever.
He's also unique in that his head doesn't stick out of his chest. He is built human shaped.
Where is he at? Where's he at? Where's he live?
He's a big fan of the Chaos Gods, and so the Grey Knights had to try to do something about it. And I haven't read the book yet. I don't know if they succeeded.
Wait, and the Men of Iron became like, you know what? I like those guys.
Imagine so you know the Emperor class Titans, right?
Yeah.
Imagine something bigger than an Emperor class Titan, powered by an AI with a gun that shoots demons, who's really fond of chaos.
Why?
Because fuck yes, that sounds awesome.
Oh my god.
Why not? We'll send. Because fuck you, that's why.
Send in the Void Dragon. Send in something. I don't know. We've tried.
Pretty sure he's still buried under Mars, but
I think you need about 3 of them.
Well, the
Part
Void
of who's
Dragon
buried under Mars.
we're just gonna do like we're gonna put the Void Dragon in Mars and it's gonna roll around like a hamster ball and he'll crash into the cascade.
Oh, so since we're talking about lore dumps and stuff, it is tongue-in-cheek acknowledged that the Emperor was Buddha and possibly Jesus and all that, right? In 40k lore.
yes.
I suppose he was also Hitler.
Wait a second.
You know, that is the most horrible true statement I've ever heard.
That's just we can just
Manipulating, trying to
You
unite
you
everything.
like leaned all the way back from your mic or something, and I didn't hear a word you just said.
Gene manipulating. You're trying to unite
What
all of
is?
Europe and all the world.
It's not on my end, right?
no,
No.
he sounds underwater.
You're
now,
so
unfortunately.
muffled all of a sudden. What? It was good.
Well,
Oh,
is this better?
yes, it is. I swear to God, like, I'm gonna fill in. I'm gonna put a disclaimer on the podcast too. We've been trying to fix Limerick's audio for what, like a month now,
Yeah.
and he and I have been continuing to try and tinker with things throughout this entire episode. And I feel like we've gotten to a point where we've realized that this mic that he has, there's like a 3-inch safety band where he's allowed to sit, and anything that is closer or further than that, he sounds like.
Yeah.
Once I learn where that is, so we'll be fine.
Well, that's right there.
We're gonna crowdsource.
Yeah.
We're gonna GoFundMe. Let's get Limerick a new mic.
I mean,
Well,
he
it's
just
not like-
he just got this mic for Christmas. The issue is,
the issue is me, not the mic.
well, okay, the issue is kind of the mic, but the issue is that the mic is, and as dumb as this sounds, because I know, and there's no way to say this without sounding like I'm knocking it. I know there wasn't an insane amount of money spent on the mic, but the mic is too fancy for what you do. It's the style of mic is the problem. And we've devolved into totally a not 40K conversation, but I'm gonna leave this in here so people understand that there's two different styles of fancy mics, and Limerick got the complicated one. So
Oh. Sounds like a fun project.
well, I mean, it can be. But anyways, so let's try this one more time.
Yes. Yeah, let's go back to the Hitler conversation.
Yeah,
No,
which
legitimately, the emperor being Hitler fits everything he did during the Unification Wars. He just didn't have the Thunder Warriors.
are you legitimately trying to tell me that the Holocaust was a dry run?
I think the Holocaust was phase 1, and he went, "Nah, that didn't work. I need something bigger."
This is and let's get Warhammer on the phone. You know, like
James Workshop, sir. What the fuck?
A burning question.
I
Why?
I
Why
need
would you?
I need Aaron Dembisky Bowden. I need Aaron Dembisky Bowden in here to answer questions right now.
Yeah, when you rewrote the history for this universe, why did you include the Holocaust again? Why did you put it back in?
So okay, it got me thinking. What got me thinking about this was I bought some 40K pins for my father, and he was like, "One of them I can put on my jacket. The other one not so much though." And I looked at them, and well, it's the Grey Knight. So one of them was the Grey Knight Book and Sword, which I mean,
I'm
is
sorry to
somewhat-
interrupt, but I'm once again getting nothing.
Oh my god, how about now?
It's a little better. It still sounds like you're talking through a pillow.
Have you tried spitting on
about
that?
We tried throwing it away.
No, Nate.
No. It's a nice mic. It is. It's a nice mic that you have to like put work into setup, which is why it's the type of nice mic I didn't get.
Yeah, you gotta spit on that thing.
I'm too late. No, that's not going to help either.
Okay, we're talking about a mic here, right?
Yes.
Not MIKE, but like an MIC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark might have been talking about the first mic.
Hold on, guys. I got something in my mouth. 1 second.
Is it Mike?
No. So what got me thinking was like I said, I bought these pins for my father.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them was the Great Knight pin, swords through the book. No problem. The other was the other army he collects, Custodes, which is an Imperial Eye.
And there it goes again.
I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't either, honestly. Like, and Limerick will attest, I have been bombarding the poor man while we've been talking.
Yeah, I'm not going so well with the multitasking.
I'm really sorry, but like legitimately there have been parts that are like almost unhearable. And I like trying to fix this in the background because I'm the audio nerd on the podcast.
Yeah. Anyways, the second pin was a Custodes pin, and it's the Imperial Eye with eagle talons grasping lightning bolts.
Okay, I heard that sentence this time. That's better.
That
Yes.
sounds quite Germanic.
Oh, it's like fascist.
It's like fascists.
It's
I was like, hold on a minute.
Hey, wait a second.
I still think one of my favorite things that I've ever read on it's sort of in the same vein as somebody was talking on the 40K Reddit, and they were like, I really want to get a 40K tattoo, and like my personal favorite faction is, you know, the Imperium, and I especially like the Astra Militarum, and like I really want to get, like, you know, the two-headed eagle tattooed, and literally every single comment underneath that was, don't do that. Do literally anything but that, for the love of God.
Yup. Yup.
Like,
Yeah.
they're like, I get that it has two heads, but your average person isn't going to know that that's different.
Nope. No. No.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
funny.
You're going to get laid out on the concrete.
Yeah, or invited to the kind of bars you don't want to get invited to.
Invited to the wrong cookout.
Exactly.
Like, wow.
Oh,
Listen.
man. Also, I just want to mention that because we've been talking about like Mortis and Knight's Lore and stuff, I'm re-downloading Mortis to reread it because, dear God, I love that book.
I just finished listening to it. And to be fair, if you're an audiobook person, the Siege of Terror series narrated by Jonathan Keeble is amazing.
A good, like, I know the book series is amazing because I read it, but the narration's good.
Yeah, the narration, Jonathan Keeble does such a great job narrating it. The range of personalities he's able to get out of like Primarchs and then baseline humans and space marines. It's good.
That is good to hear.
People just born to play.
Okay, well, I think, am I missing anything that we talked about?
No. Small thing.
The only thing we didn't talk about was Astra Militarum.
Astra Militarum. Oh, right, the new codex. All right, well, Mr. recently retired Astra Militarum. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I really hope we hear it.
Well, real quick, so I want to interject real quick with the only experience I have so far with this codex release. My local game store did a released weekend like event, where if you came in with your very own like combat shuffle, they give you a discount on the box set.
That's fantastic.
They did a
Just
post on
bring
Your
in
own
an entrenching
combat
tool
shovel?
and get a discount.
it was beautiful.
I don't love that.
That's awesome.
So everything I've read about it says that Hammer of the Emperor seems to be the best one, which is what I expected, it being the tank one.
Right.
The hammer is my microphone.
Well, no, it allows.
I get that reference.
It allows Bane blades to go through walls, and it's just.
Tanks through walls is a really fun shenanigan. Ask me how I know.
I get to walk through walls all the time. Look at me.
Yeah, no, I mean, baseline is it's good. I don't know if it's going to be like broken good because it's really hard to make T3 models amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But
It
Yeah.
looks beautiful though. Yeah, I've been considering, like, a buddy of mine's been talking about, he's into the hobby, but he hasn't pulled the trigger on buying anything yet because he's more of a casual observer. It's an expensive hobby. He doesn't have several $100s to drop money on. But man, when the Krieg box dropped, he got right at that line. He came right to it because he loves the Krieg. He loves the different detachments. of the Astro Militarum. He likes the whole like if he could do it on like some other fucking like small ass like really specific regiment, make his entire army that he would. But otherwise, he hones in on the Kriegs, and he loves them so much, just the lore of it. So, I honestly, I should probably get him some models. I'll pull the trigger for him, and then he's off to the races. But he's
This feels like a
very
crack dealer
excited.
talking about handing out the first hit for free.
I may just buy him some models. Oh my
I
god!
love the Boomhammer overview of Hammer of the Emperor. That's an overview. Play tanks, simple as.
Yeah.
Tanks.
Yeah, bring tanks.
Bring tanks. Tank. Is the army
Ooh.
rule for
Ow.
Astro Militarum still giving orders?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't want my detachment doesn't need to be complex. I would already have a hard time remembering that shit. Let me bring tank and shoot.
All
Make
right.
it tank order to big shoot.
Big shootins.
Yeah,
I think that about does us for this bi-weekly period.
yeah.
Hopefully
that
there's
means I can.
some good stuff to talk about. I want them to start teasing the Knights Codex soon, because that means there's enough stuff to tease to get us through the summer. And I know it's totally not going to happen, but can't stop me wishing for it. So,
We got the teaser for Astartes too.
oh my God, the Astartes 2 teaser is so good. Holy mother of God. And I watched it and I was like, I have to forget that I saw this because I'm going to be really angry that it's not out yet.
We could spend an episode just analyzing the 2.5 minute trailer.
Holy weird. Like literally the episode after that comes out, and probably the episode after that is just going to be talking about Astartes. Like it's going to be insane.
Yeah, but personally, me like that was the entry point for me into the hobby was Astartes on to YouTube.
Real I didn't know that.
The first thing I ever consumed for Hammer Media was Astartes,
Huh.
100%.
Well,
Like,
I
what is
mean,
this?
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's I think it's the gold standard of what Warhammer Media should be and Warhammer lore should be, and I'm excited to see what comes out.
Yeah. No, it's Astartes 1 remains one of my favorite pieces of media ever created, both in the hobby and out of.
Mhm.
And Astartes 2 is going to be ridiculously good, I
It's
think.
gotta be.
I'm so excited. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it here so that I can go make sure my kids have actually gone to bed and my wife still has what's left of her sanity.
Yes,
And
keep your mics wrapped, everybody.
and yeah, I promise to the audience and the other podcasters, this is my sincere promise that I will sit down with Limerick and work on his audio before the next recording. So
Thank you.
I will make a commitment to everyone listening that that's going to happen. But besides that, thank you for listening. Your ears are the reason we get to keep doing this. Not that it would stop us if you weren't listening, but it means a lot that you're here and paying attention to our little corner of the internet. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. You guys take good care of yourselves, and I hope your dice roll high, unless you're on the other side of my table. All right, good night.
All right.